love Hillary, but people love to hate Trump. People hate to love Hillary, but love to hate Trump. And that's why Trump will win. Because love produces energy that goes outwards. And that will get them into the voting booths, and that will get the cross for Trump, is my prediction. Follow it. But it's a very interesting dilemma of both candidates are disliked, but they're disliked in different ways. People hate to love Hillary and love to hate Trump. Follow it. So that is what motivates the whole of human behavior. And the English word emotion, if you hyphenate it, E-motion, means energy gets transferred into action. E-motion. And so what we're wanting to do in the whole of the marketing and selling environment is see how we can attach these kind of emotions in such a way that people attach. There is a word that's used a lot, and I've seen it on some of the slides that other presenters have shown, called engagement. I hate the word engagement. Because with engagement, you're not really committed. You kind of might break it off. You're testing something out. What you want is attachment. Attachment, and we'll come back to that at the end. So that's what's working inside your system. And it works faster than you can think about it. So our emotions, controlled by the amygdala in the middle part of the brain, our emotions create the reactions in our body before we are conscious of them. When information hits the amygdala, and it's happening nanosecond by nanosecond, when information hits the amygdala, it's processed at the rate of within 85 milliseconds. 85 thousandths of a second is the processing time for the amygdala to sort out what the emotional basis is, what is happening. We don't get it into consciousness till 250 milliseconds. Our thoughts are a consequence of our emotions, not the controller of our emotions. You cannot tell yourself you're going to fall in love with somebody. You may see somebody, you're quite interested in them. You can, by intention, make sure you try and meet them accidentally again. But you cannot tell yourself that you're going to fall in love. You find yourself falling in love, and then you can think about it. And it's exactly the same with products. My wife is particularly keen on handbags. I've become quite an expert on handbags. And the immediacy with which one can go into, I go through a lot of airports, the immediacy with which one can go into a store full of handbags and immediately know whether it's right or wrong, is extraordinary. And you all know that in your own shopping experience. And it's because of the emotion that has become attached to a particular shape, to a particular colour, and it's different for everybody, which is why there are so many products. It's different for everybody. And then we can attach to this fight, flight, fight reactions, or having fun and enjoying ourselves, and we can attach to it also the neurochemicals. So our brain is actually an amazing neurochemical factory, which is why it's a very silly idea to put too many designer drugs into it. It muddles up the chemistry very much. So I wanted to just think with you for a moment about what has been happening with Zara. You all probably know that Zara has become a major disruptor of the retail fashion industry. What did it do? It massively shortened the time from conceiving of a product to having it in the store, and then to tracking what happens to it in the store immediately and making very rapid changes when necessary. You'll all know that the typical life cycle in the fashion industry is 2 major shows a year. And 2 major shows take at least 4 months and typically 6 months to conceive of, to get them onto the catwalk and then into the shops. It's a 6-month cycle. And Zara have reduced that to 2 weeks. Big disruptor. And one of the fascinating consequences of that has been that people have to keep going into Zara's shop to see what's new. And so shops like Look and like, oh dear, the names are suddenly escaping me, but you'll know all those shops, are having difficulty. They're closing down in London because they can't compete. The only fashion brand that has taken up the challenge that I'm aware of is Burberry. And look at this bottom line, shop the show. Shop the show. And Burberry has created the conditions where on the same day that the model appears in the catwalk, you can buy that in their store. They've responded to Zara's challenge in the high street, but many of the other shops are having great difficulty doing so. And so what the fashion industry typically tries to do is to create excitement. Of course. But the dilemma is at the moment, how do you get the attachment? Because Zara has demonstrated there is a new kind of attachment which is immediacy. And it's a great problem now, that people want things quickly. Amazon, everything that happens on Amazon happens quickly. And so Burberry have very wisely responded to an understanding that it is not the fashion now, though the fashion itself is not unimportant, but it's the speed at which people can get it. That is what is creating the attachment. And the attachment bonds will shift from time to time. And then I came across this advertisement just last week. So in Vietnam, there is this, I think, quite wonderful advertising starting the first digital bank. And look at those words, free, simple, powerful. Wow, that's exciting. That would make me interested. In fact, I have, by marriage, a nephew who has just come to university in Vietnam this week. And I'm going to make him a member of this bank to test it out. See what it's like. Look at their very clever advertising. Fun. No banking. You go to a coffee shop. It's called Timo. You go to a coffee shop. Come and visit our Timo hangout. Enjoy a coffee with a friend. Whoever thought of a banker as a friend before? Very clever association. All Timo members can use our meeting rooms and event area, and they're free. Wow, what an offering. Discover Timo Hangout. You can feel the excitement. It's a very clever concept and very clever advertising. And then they tell you that you can get a card very quickly. You have an email, you receive a call, and you go to the Hangout to get your card. Wow. They're making attachment very fast. I want to set you a little puzzle. Last year, I went to the United States to have a look at one of 7 shops. There is a new company that in the last 4 years has created 7 shops across America. And within 4 years, the only other 2 retail outlets that outsell them on a price per square foot basis, per square meter, one of the standard measures in the retail industry, how much do we generate for each meter of floor space? The only 2 shops that outsell this new chain are Apple and Tiffany. So in 4 years, and each of the new stores that has been created is 30,000 square feet. That's quite big. 30,000, 10,000 square meters. It's quite big. Could anybody suggest what they're selling? Toys? No. No. Coffee? No. I can tell you what the products are, but that's not what they're selling. The products are anything to do with bathrooms and kitchens. Now, why are they selling the 3rd best retail results in the whole of the United States? Sorry, can't hear. Sorry. No, they're not. They're the same kind of products as you can get from the manufacturer or in any outlet. The reason these shops came into existence was this. The man who has created the shops made his money in real estate in the Midwest of America, and by the age of 48 was quite rich. So he decided that the family would move to the west coast of America. They'd build a house, they'd change their style of life, he would spend more time with his family, and so off they went to the west coast of America. And he wanted to build his own house. It had already been a dream for him. And when he came to want to create the bathroom and the kitchen and the outdoor barbecue that he wanted to have, he said the experience of going to shops where you could buy the pieces that he needed, he said the experience was horrible because people wanted you to buy product and there were salespeople pushing product at you. And what he slowly realized was that what he wanted to have was experience. He wanted to test things out. And so he's created a store in which everything works. You open a fridge, it's full of food and the lights come on. You go and have a look at a bath, you turn the taps on, they work. You try a shower, it works. He's got one space, which is about as big as one of those areas between those 4 pillars. You can close it off completely. It's got 5 shower rooms and 4 bathrooms in it. And the whole family can come and can just play in that area, trying things out quite privately. And the most important people that he employs are chefs. Because in order to test out cookers, you can just check in to have a session with a chef on any of the cookers. The most expensive cooker he sells is $150,000, handmade in France. And people come. So the Saturday morning that I went to his store in Chicago, there were 3 ladies who arrived at much the same time as I did as the store opened, and they were having the morning with the chef because they wanted to learn how to cook salmon properly. And the chef was going to teach them 6 ways of cooking salmon. And at about 10:30 in the morning, the store manager had somebody come to whisper something in his ear, and the store manager turned to me and said, we'd be delighted if you could stay for lunch. The chef is also preparing lunch for you. And so we sat down at a beautifully prepared table in the middle of the store, 4 of us. We ate the most delicious freshly prepared salmon, and other customers just wandered around. And he said, what I'm selling is experience. And nobody in his stores is allowed to sell. Nobody is allowed to sell. But they know their products extremely well. And it costs you nothing to go and spend time with the chef. There was a £20 salmon, 10 kilo salmon. No cost to the people. In one of his stores, at the end of the day, about a dozen 16, 17-year-olds from the local high school come to the store, because as you enter the store, the first thing you encounter is a very beautiful coffee bar with lots of lovely looking machinery on it. And you can decide immediately what coffee you want as you come in and which machine you would like to try, and the coffee is completely free, and you can have as much as you like if you stay in the store. And these kids come down to the store at the end of every day, have free coffee, and do their homework. And he said, we would never have created a store for kids to come and do their homework. They are the best ambassadors we could have. They go out into the community, and the stories go around about this extraordinary store, where the coffee is free and people are welcomed. The owner told me one story. He's got 2 stores in California, and some of the very wealthy people in California are now beginning to want to have a private visit to his stores. And so they'd arranged an early morning visit for some extremely wealthy people to come and have an hour in the store before the store opened. But as they arrived at the store in the morning, and the doors were opened by the people who were waiting for them in the store, outside was a really dirty, scruffy man in a wheelchair who seemed to have been sitting in the wheelchair all night outside the store. The attendant, having said hello to the important guest who had come, said hello to the man in the wheelchair, took the wheelchair into the store, served coffee before he served the people who had come to investigate the store. The people who had come to look at the store were very angry. The owner said, my staff did exactly the right thing. I couldn't care less if they never buy anything from us. My staff welcomed people, and they welcomed the person who was outside. Extraordinary. Absolutely lived the values. And so he's now selling because people want the experience, and of course, in playing around with the equipment that's there, they lift their levels. Oh, they discover things they didn't know existed. Things match this way, this way, this way. And so though people are likely to be spending more on kitchens and bathrooms than they thought they would, they're not being charged for the experience. They can buy them at the same price that they would anywhere else. So I want to suggest to you that there are 3 key motivators. The first is attraction. The first is attraction. And the starting point of that is at any level a bit of excitement. It is in fact very easy to attract people's attention. Very easy. You can do all kinds of things to attract attention. very easy. But the difficult thing is to get real attachment. And that's what creates great brands, that's what creates great buying experiences. And I think that it's the experience of the relationship that actually creates the attachment. And what the modern sciences about the brain are telling us is the brain is the organ of relationship. The brain is the organ of relationship. And if we begin to understand that, and that attachment happens through quiet excitement, joy, it generates trust, it may even generate love, then that's what makes great brands. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. That is excellent. Let me have a gift for you from the organizing board.
Questions?
Oh, question. Sorry. Ok, các bạn có câu hỏi nào cho anh Paul Brown ạ?